Thank you so much for joining us on Extrabyte. I have a special guest with me who just finished up an interview for Sweet Bites with Sandra podcast. His name is Chris White. He is the producer of My Super Psycho Sweet 16 for MTV, as well as Portals. You will be seeing another feature coming from him. It's called Doors in 2021. And thank you so much for sticking around.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, so I just have a few more questions for you because you piqued my interest so much about these thrillers that you just it's in your DNA. It sounds like. So let's talk about maybe an experience that you had on set that was either inspiring or terrifying, if you will, or even
Mm.
just funny with a project that you've worked on in the past.
Well, let's go with inspiring, and I would say it would
Mhm.
have to be a film that hasn't been released, unfortunately, but it was very inspiring for the fact that it was a film called Exhumed, directed by a buddy of mine, Scott Foyley. And
Mhm.
what was so inspiring about it is that he was operating on 10% with his heart. So he was in the
Oh
process of
wow.
getting a heart transplant. And for him to then take on directing, it was Exhumed was actually based off of an idea that he came up with, and he wrote the script. And originally we were going to other directors, but he was like, you know what, I want to direct it.
Mhm.
So we were like, all right, are you sure? Because we knew his health, condition, and he was all for it. And it was just inspiring to see that every day he was getting on set, and just putting, as set hours are super long and it could be super exhausting, and to see him going at it every day. And there was a couple of days I was sitting next to him on Video Village and he wasn't looking too good, and I was like, I hope this isn't going to happen. And he was just sticking in it, and that was just super super inspiring. And then right maybe 2 or 3 weeks after we wrapped production is when he had his heart transplant.
Oh wow. That is,
In
I
fact,
mean,
and
it
in
takes your
fact
breath
his
away. Yeah.
yeah, it is, it's really. And in fact, there's a he has a documentary that documents the whole process, from the
Mhm.
film and after the film and up to the heart transplant and then after that and everything like that. And when he got the heart transplant, he was originally on the list, and his doctor was saying that it would probably take up to a year. When the
Mm.
doctor told him that, it was only a few hours later the doctor came in and said, we found a match.
Well, how fortunate. And how is he doing now?
Oh, he's really good. He still has to take certain
Take it easy.
medications and
Yeah.
still be careful. Still
Mm-hmm.
have to be careful, and he can't run a marathon. I would hope not. But he's doing really well. He's still, he owns
Oh.
a really awesome dance studio that's in Florida, which
Oh,
they also
okay.
do filmmaking and dance for kids and everything like that. And he used to perform. He used to travel around the country, perform for I forget what president, but he performed when he was way younger for the president and everything like that.
Mm.
Yeah, he's world class. So
Wow.
yeah, he was really inspiring, especially on set. That was like ridiculous. And we were shooting during the summer at that time when it was hot. It was super
Mm-hmm.
hot and extra
Of course it's
exhausting.
hot. Was it in Florida?
Yes.
My sister lives in Florida. She lives over by Tampa. And so,
Oh, okay. Yep.
every year she's like, so there's a hurricane coming. And I'm
Hmm.
like, why do you live there?
Yep. Yep.
So my other question for you, and this one I don't even think I mentioned earlier that I was going to ask you, so it's spontaneous. So my question is, what is one of your, maybe it's a secret sauce or it is a hack that you use or an app that you must have, something that you use every single day that you cannot live without right now?
Which app? Oh. Mm.
Or an extension
Well, right
or
now, well, right now it would be Zoom for
because we're
meetings.
on Zoom.
Yes,
Well,
that's
are you
exact.
using
That's
Zoom every day?
pretty much.
Yeah.
That's the only way to really communicate and take meetings and everything like
Yeah.
that is by using Zoom. So,
Nice.
and that's, yeah, heavily used. I think the biggest Zoom one was about like 30 people on a call.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I mean, that's how we're living today. you know. And I
Yeah.
and not talking about just like social apps and more like those are recreational, I would
Hmm.
say, but the ones that you're actually using for work purposes and that are really meaningful to try to get
Hmm.
other projects going has been Zoom.
Yeah.
Mm.
For your, because you are in filmmaking and television production, is there any app that you especially like to use for those particular processes?
Uh, Not really. I don't like to do too much on the phone itself.
Hmm.
I like using either Avid or
Hmm.
Final Cut,
Hmm.
which I guess you can use. I think they're the apps, but it's easier to do it on the PC. You could
Yeah.
just get more into it for editing and everything like that. But there's an app, the DJ Go, which is really cool, and
DJ Go.
yeah, the DJ Go, and you utilize that to pretty much where you could connect it to a stabilizer and do a lot of cool shots that are really smooth and everything like that. And from there, once with that video footage, you can do like super basic editing, but that's just
Hmm.
like more fun, cutesy type stuff. But for more work related things, I do it more on the PC.
Yeah. Are you a PC or a Mac? You're a PC?
I go both. I go both, but right now it's been PC.
Okay.
Yeah,
And everybody's
they
like,
both
no,
have merit.
I have equal love. No.
Yeah, I have equal love. It's not like either is paying me to be loyal.
Right? No
You
one has
know,
paid you to pay. Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like I could do iPhones, I could do Androids. It's whatever works and whatever is really good. I don't really care. I'm not one of these avid, must can only do. It's just like video games. I'm a gamer, and you got people like, oh, I only do Xbox, I only do PlayStation. I'm like, why? They're both
Mhm.
great. They both have great games. If you can
I
afford it, get
know.
all of it.
Yeah.
It's
My
not that
husband
major.
has all of it.
Yes.
So my last question for you is what celebrity or business leader or maybe inspirational figure have you liked to work with the most? Who's your favorite to work with?
Um, Well, throughout the years, filmmaker wise, I think everyone has been amazing to work with. So I can't
Mhm.
really pinpoint just one person unless there was that one person I'm constantly sort of working with. And
Mhm.
with this business, a lot of times you're working with a lot of different people throughout the years. But I think one of because I believe one of in the questions and emails was also about mentors, would
Oh
be my
yeah.
former boss at
Uh-huh.
MTV, Brian
Uh-huh.
Graydon. And if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have gotten the chance to do the My Super Psycho movies. I used to be on his
Mhm.
desk, I was answering his phones, and he was the president of entertainment at that time.
Mhm.
And he actually was the one who put Real World on the map and everything for MTV. So he has a really
Right.
long history. But yeah, he was just super supportive and just being able to be in his meetings and see his process and
Mhm.
just how he dealt with everything from on a corporate level but also a creative level
Mhm.
was really inspiring, and the fact that he gave me the approval and was like, hey, look, because when the My Super Psycho movies came together, the mandate had changed, because there was a point where MTV was sort of going down in ratings because it was just a
Mhm.
glut. All they were really focusing on was the reality shows. And
Right.
I think after a while, people are getting exhausted. It was like everything is, reality. So they started to change up the mandate that they wanted to do scripted horror. Um,
Mhm.
and Brian knew my love was for horror and thrillers, and he
Yes.
knew I was plugged in with a lot of those the filmmakers.
Mhm.
And that's when he was like, look, hey, if you know you could bring something together, let's bring it to the table and let's talk about it. And then that's how the conversation for the My Super Psycho came along. And then I was able to bring in the filmmakers that I really admire and said, hey, look, for this type of money, we could bring these guys in and they'll do a phenomenal job. They did something for Sundance that cost 50,000 and it sold for 2 million.
Mhm.
So it's kind of like, yeah, he was just, yeah, he was great. I would have to say, yeah, again, if it wasn't for him, if I was on anyone else's desk in that company, I'd probably still be answering phones. And that's just I lucked out.
Just in the right place at the right time and
Yeah,
doing good work, right?
yeah,
Like you
exactly,
had to have
exactly.
that hungry mentality too.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Hmm.
good on you. Well, thank you so much for joining me, both for Sweet
I
Bites with
appreciate
Sandra
it. Same
and
here.
Extra
Thank you.
Bite.
Mm.
Yes. And if you missed it and you're just watching this Extra Bite, make sure you go back to the podcast, wherever you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify, Google, wherever it is, and check his full interview out with Chris White, super producer, thriller master. Thank you so much. And I'll see you guys
Thank
later.
you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right.
Have
Bye.